Hello everyone. Today I'm going to discuss about business structure based on Cambridge A level. In this topic, there are several things that we will be able to learn. First, local business, national business, international business, international trade, multinational business, and privatization. First, we will go to local business, national business, and international business. So now we will start with local business, national business, and international business. First of all, what is local business? Local business operates in small, well-defined part of the country. What does this mean? This means local business only operates in one area of the country. For example, this one circle is a one country, and local business means they only located in this part only, not around the country. Now we will go to national business. National business means have branches and operates across the country. What does this mean? This means that local businesses have their own businesses, factories around their country. For example, this circle is the country. Local business have their businesses around it. So it can be everywhere around the country. Now, while international business means that it operates in more than one country, which means not only international business operates in one country, it also operates in other country. So if this one is one country, international business will have their businesses not only in this country but also in this country. Now, this international business also can be called as multinational business. When we talk about their potential customer, we will see through this diagram. Local business customer is only this much, while national business will have more customer as they located across the country, which means all of this is national businesses potential market, while international business known to have more than one country, which means they have more bigger consumer potential customer, which means this all will be the potential market for the international business. So in this part, we study that local business is the smaller business and national business is a little bit more bigger business, and international business is the biggest business as they have more potential customer, more businesses around the country and also in another country. Now we will talk about international trade. First of all, what is international trade? International trade is trading happen between two countries. What's the example of it? For example, country A is producing this marker, while country B is good at producing this book. Now because of this international trade, they will be able to sell their product to each other country and also buy each other products. Now, of course, this international trade will bring huge impact to both country, not only in terms of businesses but also in terms of the overall country. Now we will talk about the advantage and the disadvantage of it. First, the advantage. The advantage of international trade is build up improve political skills, build up social skills, help resolve difference between them, specialization, build up improve political skills. Now, why does international trade has a relationship with political skills? Of course, in order for international trade to be done, these two countries need to have a good relationship. Now, of course, when these two countries have a good relationship, there will always be politics behind it. Now, because of these international tradings, they need to keep on improving their relationship in terms of political. It is why over time international trade help countries to build up their political skills. Now of course, by this maintaining relationship, the countries also able to build up their social skills, as now they will be able to considerate between each other, not only for the countries but also for businesses. Why? Now businesses not only need to serve the local consumer, then they also need to serve the international customer. Of course, in order to serve international customer, they need to have better social skills. So over time, international trade help to build up the social skills. Next, help resolve difference between them. Now, as we know, every country have their own specialization. For example, country A is very good at producing this marker, while country B is very good at producing this book. Now, because of this, they can just buy this book, or the other country can easily just buy this marker from each other, as this international trade allows the countries that involve to complete each other. Next is specialization. Now, because of this international trade, as now each country able to help other countries in terms of their lacking at, now this international trade allow them to build up their specialization. Now they able to use all of their resources to put in their specialization product. Now it is why international trade will help specialization to run well, and this specialization will lead to efficiency, which is a very crucial things that every country need to achieve. Next, after we talk about all of this advantage, international trade also have their own disadvantage. First, the disadvantage is new businesses not be able to survive. Why new businesses are not be able to survive? It is because now international product or import product are going into our country. Of course, the competitiveness of this market will become harsher. It will be more competitive. The market will be more competitive, and local businesses also need to be more efficient than usual. Now, of course, we all know that it is very impossible or very less chance for new businesses to be very efficient compared to old business or a very developed businesses. It is why when they try to go into this very competitive market, they have a very low chance to survive or no chance of survival at all. It is why new businesses are not able to survive in this harsh international trade. Next is dumping may happen. Okay, first, what is dumping? Dumping is this import product that going into our country charge a very low price in order to make domestic firm to suffer or domestic firm to not be able to compete with their product. Now, this dumping is very bad because this make local businesses to have a hard time to compete with this international product, and in the end, the local businesses may experience bankruptcy or not be able to survive because of this too harsh competitive market. Now, of course, this dumping can lead to our third disadvantage, which is loss of output and jobs, because now, because of this international trade, more businesses are experiencing bankruptcy or they not be able to gain enough profit to produce more. It is why they will experience a loss in profit and jobs also, because since their local products are not that attractive, have lower customer interest, of course these businesses need to unemploy their workers in order to maintain their profit, which in the end will cause loss of jobs in that country. Next is corporative advantage take long time. The main goal of this international trade in order to take advantage of this corporative advantage, but this corporative advantage advantage cannot be done just in 1 year or in 2 years. It takes time. It can take 5 years above or 10 years. Now, because it takes a very long time, this causes more businesses to close up, more job to loss, which in the end lead to this country to have lesser output than usual, as they need to produce or they need to erase the businesses that produce a product they are not specialized in, which in the end result in lost output and jobs too. Because of this disadvantage, of course, government need to take action. Now, what's their action? Their action is to do protectionism. Protectionism is the way government able to protect the local businesses. Now, what way that can be done by them? First is tariff, quota, voluntary export limit. There are more, but now we will only discuss these 3 points. First, tariff. What is tariff? Tariff means charging tax to the import product. By charging this will cause import product price to rise and allow local business to be able to compete with them. Now, while quota means our country will limit the import product that can go into our country. Of course, because there are a limitation in these import goods, this will allow local businesses to produce this product in order to fulfill all the needs or wants of our country's citizen or the customer. Next is voluntary export limit, which means export country will done their own limitation of product going into our country. They done that because they don't want us to charge quota and tariff and quota to them. Now, this is what government do due to the disadvantage of international trade. Now, because of a good relationship in international trade, because of this all advantage, the government may want to do free trade. Now, this free trade means now these two countries able to do trading without any barrier. We will talk about this free trade in the next segment. We will start with free trade. What is free trade? As we have discussed before, free trades mean trading between countries without any restriction or barrier. Now we will see in this whiteboard more clearer explanation about free trade. Free trade is no restriction or trade barrier exists that might prevent or limit trade between countries. Now, this means because of these free trades, countries able to trade each other without any barriers such as tariff, quota, and more. Now, because of these free trades, it can bring benefit and cost to the country or to the business itself. First, we will talk about the benefit of it. The benefit is focus on specialization, economies of scale, import raw material, increase productiveness and efficiency of domestic business. First, we will talk about focus on specialization. Now, as we learned before, we know that every country have their own specialized product. Now, because of the existence of free trade, they can focus on producing their own specialization product without thinking of the other product that they are not good at, because they can just easily buy it from the other countries. Now, it is why because of this free trade, the countries or the business can focus more on the producing their own specialization product. Next is economies of scales. Because of there are no quota anymore or tariff anymore, local businesses now can buy imported raw material cheaper way and unlimited because of the existence of free trade. It is why now they able to gain economies of scales due to they able to buy in bulk now without any limitation as before the existence of free trade. Next is import raw material. Yeah, as we discussed before in the economies of scales, now businesses that use imported raw materials able to buy their raw materials from them with cheaper price and unlimited quantity. Nah, because of this, now our industrialization able to increase as they have enough raw material. Have more raw material to produce the product. It is why the industrialization will increase. Next is increase productiveness and efficiency of domestic business. Now, because of economies of scales, of course the cost of production will be reduced, and of course, because of this reduction of cost, it also able to lead to productiveness and efficiency. And then because of now businesses not only need to compete with their local, but they also need to compete internationally with the other countries' producer. This will make the market to be more competitive, forcing the businesses to be more productive and efficient. So this free trade push our local businesses to be more productive and efficient, hence will increase it. Next, we will talk about the cost. The cost is excessive dependence, local industries struggle to survive, loss of output and jobs. Now, when we say excessive dependence, it means we too dependent on buying other countries' products that we are not specialized at. For example, we only focus on producing markers, but we ignore the production of books, leading us to keep on buying books, import books every time. Now, this will lead to the country to be more dependent, and it is not good because when they are too dependent to other country, this will cause the import to increase, and there are more import than export, which will bring the economies of the country to be bad. Next is local industry struggle to survive. As we have discussed before, because of this assistance of free trade, now they able to compete internationally. Of course, the competitive market will be more competitive and will be more harsher than usual. Now, because of it, the businesses that are not as efficient as the other businesses from the other country, of course, they will struggle to survive as they are not efficient as the other producer from other country. Because of their struggle to survive, this will cause to our third point, which is loss of output and jobs. Why? It is because when the businesses struggles to survive, of course they will cut down all the costs in order to gain profits. Now, this loss of cost, this reduction of cost by unemploying their employees by producing less, of course will reduce the outputs of the country and also reduce the jobs opportunities in the country, also will lead to a loss of job because now more people are unemployed because businesses are struggle to survive and not as efficient as the other countries. Now, these free trades, because of these free trades, this bring a push to the process of globalization. What's the meaning of globalization? Globalization is increased freedom of movement of good capital people around the world. Now, because of this globalization, now people able to communicate with the other country easier. Because of globalization, there are the access of internet, online shopping. Now, people from other country can easily purchase products from other country through online shopping that are being done due to this globalization. Also, because of this globalization, there are less restriction on the national border, as now businesses able to sell their product to the other country easily. Okay, as I said before, we have talked about international business. I say that international business is the same as multinational business. Now we will discuss about multinational business. What's the meaning of multinational business? Multinational business is business organization that has its headquarters in one country, but operating branches, factory, assembly plants in other country. This means multinational business operates in more than one country. It has the same meaning, almost the same meaning as international business. Now, what's the advantage and disadvantage of owning multinational business? Now, we will discuss in this part. First, the advantage. The advantage of it is closer to main market, better market information, lower cost of production, avoid import restriction, access to local natural resources, avoid okay, this is the same thing. Now, okay, we will talk about closer to main market. Now that they have their own company, their own branches in the other country, they will be able to gain closer to their potential market in that country compared to when they only import their product to that country. Which is why owning a multinational business will make producer or to make this business to be closer to their potential market or potential customer in the other country. Next is better market information. Now that they have located in different part of country, like for example country A, country B, country C, now this multinational business able to do market research in order to know these people, this country potential market characteristic equally. As now they have located their business in there, it is easier for them to do market research truly or more specifically. It is why because of this they will be able to gain more information, gain more better market information about the preference of the customer or about the market in that country. Next is lower cost of production. Now, there are a lower cost of production. It is because the labor rates is cheaper. For example, when America's company open branches or open factory in China, of course the price of the labor is cheaper in China compared to in America. It is why they able to cut down their costs by opening their company in or opening their factory in China. The rent it's also lower compared to America since because of the currency strength. Next is avoid import restriction. When we have our own factory in that country, is when there is no need for us to pay import tariff or there is no need for us to pay. There are no limitation in our quota in our production of the product since we are in that country and we are producing product for that country. It means there are no limitation. We can produce as much as we want for that country without any limitation or any restriction or any additional import tariff given. Next is access to local natural resources. Since we are located in that country, it means the country will accept us as their own company too that are opening in there. This will give us access to have their own natural resources in that country. For example, Nestle have their own company or their own factory in Indonesia, right? Now, because of that, Nestle able to get Indonesia palm oil natural resources because they have their own company in Indonesia and there are no limitation on the amount of palm oil they can get from Indonesia. Next is the disadvantage. The disadvantage is poor communication. Now, because of they are very long organization chart, of course the information passed down from the upper subordinate to the lower subordinate will be not very clear or very specified as there are lots of information being passed on from one people to another people to another people. Of course, some important information may be cut down by them without noticing it. This will lead to a poor communication. Also, the poor communication also can happen because of the second disadvantage, which is language, legal, and cultural difference. Of course, when they have different language, it is very hard for them to communicate with each other. Such as, for example, Apple. Apple is an American industry. Of course, they will speak English as their main language, but when they open their factory in China who use Mandarin language, it is very hard for them to communicate with each other. Now, of course, not only the language, there are legal and cultural difference in that country. For example, in Indonesia, our culture is we need to use very neat clothes, need to be covered up. But when you go to America, they can use tank top, more free, like that. Also, because of that difference, the businesses may produce something that they think it has a good price or it is a good product in their own country, in America, but when they bring that product to Indonesia, it is not sure that it will be accepted by the local customer. Also, every country have different legal, have different need or have different rule that business need to follow. Of course, this will make multinational business that are from the other country to not understand the legal procedure in the other country that they are going to open their branches in. Next is local employees may have low skill. For example, like in Apple employees in America may have better skill than employees in China, for example. Now, of course, because of their low skill, it can reduce their quality of the product. Now, then how to avoid this? They need to do training. Of course, training need cost. Need a very big cost. Of course, in the end, this will increase the cost of the company. And this increase in cost also may cause in a reduction in profit. This is the disadvantage and advantage of multinational business. Now we will talk about the advantage and the disadvantage of multinational business in the next segment. Now we will talk about the advantage of being host country for multinational company and the disadvantage of being host country for multinational company. First, we will talk about the advantage of it. Employment opportunities. Local firm will be forced to bring their quality and productivity up to international standard. Tax revenue to government. Local firm benefit from supplying service and component. First, employment opportunities. Why there are employment opportunities? It is because when multinational company open their branches, open their factory in this host country, of course they will need labor. And whose labor will they use? They will use the local workers or local labor in that host country, which is why the opportunities of employment will increase in that country because of this multinational company. Next, local firm will be forced to bring their quality and productivity up to international standard. As we all know, multinational business for sure will have a very good quality product, very productive, very efficient in producing their product. Now, in order to be able to compete with this multinational business, our local or domestic firm need to keep up with that by being more productive and bring up their quality. Of course, by forcing them to bring these two up will be a very good thing for the host country, as now their product or their country's product will have good quality and also efficient in their production. Next, tax revenue to government. Multinational operating in this host country, of course there is a must for them to pay tax revenue, and this additional tax revenue will give government to use that money to improve the country's living standard or the country's economy, for example, by putting it on education, building more infrastructure, and more. Next, local firm benefit from supplying service and component. What's the meaning of this? The meaning is when multinational business, of course, they need to have raw material, need to have supply in order to produce their goods. Now, because they are producing in this host country, this multinational country will be able to buy supply from this local business. Of course, when multinational buy this local business supply, this will increase their sales, as usually multinational business will buy in bulk. So there will be an increase in sales and also in profit for them, which is a very good thing for them. Next is disadvantage of being the host country for multinational company. First, exploitation of local workforce might take place. Extensive depletion of limited natural resources, profit sent back to origin country, local business may be squeezed out of the country. First, why are there exploitation of the local workforce? Might take place. Why? It is because this multinational business may charge or may pay this local worker a very low price for them to work in their factory. Of course, because they are very big and very powerful, it is why sometimes this exploitation of local workforce might happen, because due to these workers are desperate to get money. It is why no matter how low this multinational pay them, they will still willing to work. Next is extensive depletion. Multinational business doesn't care about the natural resources that are depleting due to them. What they only care is by gaining more profit, producing more of that product. So, because multinational business is a very big company, they will usually build in bulk. Of course, the depletion of these local natural resources will be more faster. Of course, in the end, this will lead to the extensive depletion of the limited raw material. Next, profit sent back to origin country. It is very possible for these branches to bring back their profit back to the headquarters. It is for sure that thing will happen. Also, when this happens, this will lead the country to have loss of money, loss of outputs too, because now the profit are being sent back to the other country. Local business may be squeezed out of the country. What's the meaning of this? The meaning of this is now that multinational business is more effective, more powerful, and then they be able to dominate the market, which in the end the local business may be squeezed out of the market or squeezed out of the country. Okay, next we will talk about privatization. Privatization will be discussed in the next segment. Privatization is selling state-owned and controlled business organization to investor in private sector. What does this mean? This means that a public sector business will be changed into private sector business. Now, by knowing the definition, later on we will discuss the advantage and the advantage of it. And now we will talk about the disadvantage of privatization. First, private sector will not keep businesses open based on the needs of society. Next, breaking nationalized industry. Monopolies may happen. First, private sector will not keep business open based on the needs of society. What's the meaning of it? It means private sector will not produce any services, any product that are not bringing them profit but very useful for the society, such as traffic light. Because traffic light doesn't generate any profits, so private sector will not provide it, and then it will cause chaos to the society, as the society really needs to have traffic light in order to control the roads. The second, breaking nationalized industry will cause a reduction in opportunity for economies of scale. Why? Of course, when the government sold their organization to investor, it will be broken up into pieces. Also, when these companies are being broken down into pieces, of course they will not be able to gain the advantage of economies of scale, since the company is smaller than what it used to be. Next is monopolies may happen. Now that the market are controlled by the private sector can easily take over, other company take over, which will lead to a monopolies, and this monopolies will happen when the government doesn't have any shares or any market in that market in order to control it, so these monopolies may not happen. So this is the disadvantage and the advantage of privatization. This will be the end of my explanation. Thank you for listening and watching.